Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today I'm sailing the quote-unquote premium Tier 9 American battleship, the Missouri. And after the patch and the Missouri being removed, there's a bunch of people who said she's just not working right. The dispersion's all over the map, you know, it's unusable now. And I think I mentioned it a while back and said Wargaming was looking into it, and they did. Because enough people complained, and there was enough confirmation bias that they looked in. But no, the Missouri is working intended, and if you look at little white mouses, dispersion pre and post patch, you know, after 1,000 shots at the same point, you can look at the dispersion and it's identical. Nothing has changed. She is working as intended, and she's still just as deadly as intended. And I guess that's one of the things that can happen in warships is a high enough profile individual says, oh, this is broken, it's bugged, this isn't what it's supposed to be. Enough people go in, have a shot or two that really RNG just decides, no, this is as bad as it gets, and you go, oh yeah, it's completely broken. And well, I've seen it happen with other ships, I've seen it happen with tanks, but the Missouri is still a very deadly ship. And in this one I'm playing alongside Great Killer and Sergeant Ross, and Alsace and Chungmu, and unfortunately for Great Killer, this is their first game in the Alsace, and they end up perishing maybe a little early, but they're still trying to figure out how to play it, and well, left and right of that Prince Eugen. Doesn't matter though. My plan here is to basically advance through the islands, use them to really block torpedoes, to get down, get on the side of some of these bigger ships down here, hoping there's a few of them, and just lay in some big hurt. Well, first one didn't work against the Eugen, but try again, and of course, right after I fire, that Miyoko shows up more or less broadside on. A little peeved that I didn't see her sooner, but 4 grand against the Eugen, I'll take it, and well, sadly that Z46 is going to be just outside my radar range. Well, a little more than just, a couple kilometers, but I do wish they had decided to enter cap on the island side, because I would have been able to radar them, and my team really would have been able to pick them apart. Unfortunately, they go near the middle of the map. Ross has to leave the cap. He's repositioning. He will get back in and contend, and well, I've got other things to contend with here. So just waiting. Feel I finally have my shot at the Eugen, and she was turning out, but a good chunk there, 8,500, I will happily take. It's about half her remaining health, and I'm just going to keep pushing down. I don't feel I'm as far as I can go. I'm really feeling this next island right ahead of me is going to be the optimal place with where their ships are to kind of stop initially. Obviously want to get rid of the ship, but gonna lose the shot. And I've made a habit of always zooming out when I think we're getting close to land, because I've laid volleys into land way too much, trusting that terrain hit indicator to indicate it, and it's a good thing I switched target. 1 Citadel, 3 overpens, pretty much single shot of Miyoko, and that feels good. 36,000 damage on the board so far, and you can see, managed to push pretty far south here. Nambuki and Mahan with me, Sergeant Ross in the cap, contesting it so the enemies don't get all the caps, because they've definitely got B, they're gonna take C, and we can't afford them to take A, and with the amount they captured gone, means the Z46 is left. Eugen comes around the corner at me, easily finish him off with a couple overpens, and well, now it's this North Carolina. Ooh, and a Fiji, and the Miyoko is still hanging about for at least a moment till Killer finishes them off. And you can see, I got to this edge of land and I slammed the brakes on. And it's because you know the destroyer can't shoot at you when you're behind the island, so they've got to try and clear the island. And there goes most of a Fiji with my rear gun. The front 2 finished loading. Citadel to finish them off. 1 more ship down. It's 2 kills, 70,000 damage in a little under 5 minutes. So with those threats gone, I just kind of wait. Okay, it's safe to go. Punch it back in forward. Time to get moving, time to put pressure on this North Carolina. Now, I do have to stay wary of this Mahan's torpedoes. I have no idea what they're at, because I do not believe they were in range to any of these enemy ships, but you never know. They're a low tier DD in a tier 9 game. You know they're probably feeling a little outclassed. And I'm definitely liking how this North Carolina is coming around the corner. Giving me lots of side. Unfortunately, only 2 pens. 4,900 damage. And that's really going to be my last good shot at them, I think. Because I really do expect that they're going to turn out. But in the general trend that I like to clear a flank before trying to push in this case, the North Carolina is the last bastion of the enemy team, pretty much on the entire side of this mountain range. Ross, using RPF and just a good sense of where torpedoes are coming from, pretty much knows the Z-46 has passed through the middle of the map and run. So we take out this North Carolina, we've got this entire side. The mountains will offer us good protection and an opportunity to push through where and how we want at the enemies. And I've obviously got to start thinking about getting over in that direction. So I turn the hull. I'm going to take the rear gun out of it, but front guns are all I need, and the fire is what's going to finish her off. So time to get over to the middle. And for me, it really comes down to, I'm either going to go through this channel here or the one south of it. And it's going to come down to where the destroyers are spotted. But for now, go the straightest line I can to the enemy route, keeping both in mind. And there is that Z-46. And this is where Killer starts to get worked down. And a big part of the reason I feel just a little too close. The Alsace does a really good job of kiting and playing a kind of cruiserish game. It can't tank damage, and unfortunately a lot of the enemy team was focusing him down. So we lose the div mate, but we're not out of this. The enemy team does have 2 caps and 4 kills though, so some work to be done. And right now, I'm deciding I'm just going to hold my fire. I don't have great shots. The Baltimore, it's sailing away. Honestly, by the time my shells get there, might be out of range, so I might not have the range to adequately lead them. And I'd rather them be cautious and wondering where I am and where I'm moving to, than just give up my position for kind of a hope and prayer shot. So just keep advancing forward. I do have my radars available. You know, if those destroyers get close, I'm able to light them in their smoke and give Sergeant Ross and Arsene Yang an opportunity, hopefully, to just freely shoot them and remove them. Now that enemy Baltimore is starting to curl in, and I consider shooting for a bit, but we do have this Scharnhorst, Algerie, Bismarck kind of all on the north. They've definitely got something to contend with in the form of an Alsace Myoko. But I still really am feeling that my opportunity is, let's take out the south, let's, you know, secure another kind of section of the map, this in the form of all the southern edges, and we'll start to just encircle the enemies. Now I turn to get all the guns in this Pensacola because in my experience you can do a lot of damage to a Pensacola, and I do just that, dropping over 12,000 into them, and well, the Ibuki finishes the job. So another ship gone, and I'm starting to get close to that 100,000 mark, and there's a lot of enemy team left. But for the first time in a while at least, we've got the kill lead. They're still ahead on caps, they're still getting the points, but we do have the kills. And that means we've got more guns. Now you can see up in the north, the Scharnhorst, it's decided it's charging, and it looks like he's shooting the Myoko, going for rams or torps on the Alsace. Doesn't matter, either way, if that Scharnhorst can get some good damage into the Alsace, that'll be, you know, one of the big threats, hopefully work down. Now this Kagro is spotted, but I honestly, looking at them, until they started to turn like that, I felt I didn't have a strong enough shot to take, and then they start turning out. So I'm looking for where I can maximize my volleys. Right now, I'm feeling this Musashi. Another tier 9 battleship. I've got to contend it, got to get rid of it. You can see our Scharnhorst went down. We've got a Bismarck and Algerie up in the north, and, well, the Algerie is on really good health. It's been sitting behind the island, just kind of putting damage in where it could. And the friendlies, the Ibuki, and a couple destroyers finish off that Kagro, so that's another torp threat gone. And if they can finish off, you know, this Lo Yang and Z46, it gives us a lot of power. And I do have my radar up. I was hoping to catch that Lo Yang in the smoke, but it is pretty clear they've run away. And I'm passing that information on to Sergeant Ross, trying to help him get to a position where he can run them down. And it's kind of about here that I'm like, you know what, I don't like it, but I've got to get into this cap. Got to stop the enemies from getting too many points. Now our Shenyang, they're going in too. I wish at the time I'd really been paying enough attention to what they were doing, because in getting close here, I'm going to become a focus down target, and I'm going to lose a lot of hit points here. And you just hit a point where you have to turn out. And unfortunately, I kind of realized that, and it's like, you know what, I've got to get out. Where the Balti is, it's a little too close. Where all their ships are. So, just aiming, and I end up eating a torpedo while I'm zoomed in. And I feel like a bit of a tool in doing so, and I completely missed the shot on the Baltimore. So mistake there, but we're not out of this. I don't need any more torps. If I can get to the smoke will let me turn out safely. And, well, you know, a Baltimore and Myoko should be easy enough prey for me. I should be able to get some pretty decent damage onto them. And you can see, I really do want the Baltimore, because he's got the radar. He's the biggest threat to my div mate, and, well, our destroyers in general. The Myoko, it can't really contest a DD the way a Baltimore can. So just watching the Balti, starting to show nice broadside, I get the shot off, and I'm turning out. We pick up a second cap, so we're going to start closing those points, and there we go. Decent hit on the Baltimore, pick up my Confederate, and that's going to force that cruiser further back. Now, with cruisers, when you've got all your health, you can be a little aggressive. But as you start to lose those points, you're pushed further and further from the fight, because you can't afford to be ended in a single volley. And, well, the Z46 may be spotted, but I know one good shell out of these guns, and that Miyoko's dead. Unfortunately, I just don't have luck landing that one good shell. I do 2,800 damage, but that's about it. And I'm gonna waste a good chunk of time just trying to hit this Myoko. And I really should already be on my repair party. It takes me a few seconds to get there, but I do get it up, and a couple more shells into the Myoko, but both overpens. Now you can see here, Sergeant Ross, he's charging in. There's Z46, they're Lo Yang, they're detected. It's time to get rid of them. The Shenyang is fully engaging. Ross is going to be able to finish them off with that fire support. And really, what I've got to do, I'm just going to get behind this island, post up, and do my best job at surviving. I'm pretty beat up, but if I'm bowing beside an island, it really minimizes where people can shoot at me from. And you can see our Shenyang just full hand shooting that Myoko, finishing them off. And, well, take a shot at the Baltimore, it's no good. Dodge the torpedoes, really, with the help of the island, and as much as I want to shoot this Baltimore, I'm gonna just try to put myself in a position they don't have a lot of shots on me. The Musashi, it's gonna become my main target, and that Baltimore sailing away. The Lo Yang charges in though, and with the health Ross has, compared to that Lo Yang, even with the Baltimore shooting, should be able to finish the Lo Yang off. And if he can get the Lo Yang, that gives us a huge advantage, because now we're 3 DDs, 2 battleships, versus 2 battleships and a cruiser. And a battleship really just can't contest a destroyer late game. So really, it's up to that Baltimore, and he doesn't really have the hit points. So with myself kind of safely installed alongside this island, you can see me just looking right there. Okay, is the Alsace going to have shots? And granted, I could be more bow on. It probably would help me survive longer here. But I was hoping to just get as many guns on as possible because I felt I was going down. And I do sink, but not without laying 3 more citadels into that broadside Musashi. So it's a foregone conclusion. The Musashi, she is going to go down. Whether it be this Bismarck, or those Torps, or the Shenyang's guns. And it winds up being a flood from the Mahan. So there's another ship. We've got all the caps. Really managed to pull this one back in. And I think a big part of it was just, you know, kind of clearing quadrants of the map. Just slowly boxing that enemy force in. Even if they had more numbers, they start to lose their opportunity to get their flanking shots. You're able to bring your armor more effectively to bear, and your guns, because you can always find those broadside targets. And that's really what I tried to do in this, and I managed to get 8 citadels for the effort, 181,000 damage and 2 kills. But this one's all but over, so let's jump to post-battle. Now I could have angled better against that Musashi, but if I had actually shown a little more sight and gotten that volley off with the rear gun, probably would have finished them before the shells got to me. Either way, solid game, 181,000 damage, 2 kills, and us as a division I really felt did a good job just slowly pushing around and encapsulating that enemy team and coming back from a bad start as a whole team. We were down ships, we were down caps, but you don't give up in this game. You can fight your way back. End of the day, got 8 citadels, got myself a Confederate and a high caliber, and the win. More importantly, I'm still loving the Missouri. She's still got it, and you know, second on the team, you can see the whole div, you know, second, third, and fourth. That Ibuki doing a great job too, finishing off a couple ships that needed to die. Anyways, I hope everyone liked this or enjoyed it, took away something. If you have the Missouri and have been cursing it, well, look at who's behind the keyboard and mouse. Take a few seconds. You know, the ship is still good. Anyways, as always, I'm Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you all later.